They laughed at her limp, at her trembling hand, at the scar that wouldn't fade. Then a 3-star general walked in, stopped the whispers, and said 12 words that froze the room. This is how Mia Watson turned every cruel laugh into silence. The watch on Mia's wrist didn't move. A crack split the face like a thin river through glass. The second hand aimed at nowhere. It had been her mother's. It broke the same day the truck didn't see them at the crossroads. The same day the doctor said words that sounded like metal. Nerve damage, partial loss, tremor, likely small town. Long shadows. Dusty road that ended at the water tower. People waved with 2 fingers off the steering wheel. People told stories that stuck like burrs. Mia kept the watch. She liked its stubborn silence. She said it remembered. Every morning she wound it anyway. The crown turned. Nothing changed. Her wallet held 1 card, 1 bus ticket, and air. She called it her empty wallet. It felt honest. She had a dishwashing job that ate her nights. She had tuition bills that ate her mornings. She had the road between them, that dusty road, grinding all that hope to powder. When she walked, her left foot lagged. It annoyed her. It amused others. They didn't try to hide it. Shaky shakes, someone called in the store aisle like it was a joke you could buy on clearance. She touched the broken watch as if it might defend her. She dreamed in straight lines. Build, learn, serve. No grand speeches, just standing where it was hard to stand. That winter, the town church needed volunteers. Shelter intake for a storm that wouldn't end. Mia took the night shift. Cots, blankets, checklists. A woman came in with a baby and a bruise in the shape of a doorframe. Mia's hand shook while she wrote their names. The pen still traced every letter. A retired sergeant showed up with an armful of coats. He noticed the tremor. He didn't stare. He pointed at the watch. That one's been to war, he said. It's just broken, Mia said. Sometimes that's the proof, he said, and set the coats down. After midnight, the generator coughed out. Darkness swallowed everything. The baby cried. Wind sifted grit under the doors like a dry sea. Mia found the service panel with her phone light. The switch tasted like pennies. Sparks. Out again. She limped out back to the alley where the wind made knives and the night felt hungry. She held the phone between her teeth and tugged the pull cord until her shoulder throbbed. She didn't stop. Someone laughed inside the hall. A short laugh. Mean and bored. The generator caught. Light returned. Someone clapped in a slow, sarcastic rhythm. Mia turned. The man from the food table gave her a crooked grin. Steady hands, he said, loud enough for everyone. She looked at her watch. Still broken. She looked at the dusty road, pale under streetlight. It seemed to point at something she couldn't see yet. The retired sergeant stepped in front of the man. Say that again, he said. The man laughed harder. Mia felt heat rise to her throat. She exhaled through it. Save it, she said, and walked inside. Morning found the storm blown out to the fields. The woman and the baby slept. The retired sergeant poured coffee like it cost him nothing. Come by the VFW, he said. There's someone you should meet. Mia touched the watch. It stayed silent. She nodded anyway. She didn't know the next room she entered would be full of people who would laugh at her injuries for sport, and that someone with 3 stars would later make the room forget how to breathe. The VFW smelled like brass and old sawdust. Flags lined the wall. A board with names hung like a spine. The retired sergeant, name tag Holt, waved her over. You're the one, a woman at the end of the table said. She had sharp eyes and sleeves rolled to the elbow. Watson, you fixed generators while shaking. I didn't fix it, Mia said. I just kept pulling. Same thing, the woman said. I'm Captain Reyes, off duty. Always recruiting, Mia laughed despite herself. I'm poor and slow. And my hand does this. She held up the tremor. It was small but real. A bird that never found the branch. Reyes watched without flinching. You write straight. You show up at night. You don't fold in wind. We can use that. You're not the army, Mia said. True, I'm a liaison for a medical logistics charity, Reyes said. We move goods where roads give up. We train people who've been told they can't. The words tugged at something under Mia's ribs. But her wallet sat light in her pocket, a hollow laugh. Training costs money, she said. Reyes slid a pamphlet across the table. Scholarship fund. Small print. Deadlines. Interview is this Friday, Reyes said. You'll need a story. I've got an empty wallet, Mia said. That's my story. Holt leaned back. Tell them about the watch, he said. Mia looked down. The crack on the crystal caught the light like a scar that learned to shine. My mother wore it cleaning motel rooms, she said. She could time a bedspread to the second. It broke when I didn't, that's all. Reyes grinned. That's the story. See you Friday. All the way home, the dusty road lifted and fell like a slow tide. She held her wallet. She liked how little weight it had. She felt faster without it. Friday came with cold sun. The interview sat inside a civic building where silence had a tenure. 3 people behind a table. A glass pitcher of water. Mia's left foot lagged. She arrived a beat late to every step. They asked about grades. She said the numbers. They asked about the storm night. She said the generator just needed a stubborn person. Your hand, one said. It shakes. It does, she said. A young man with perfect hair snorted in the second row of observers. He whispered to the woman beside him. A little wave of laughter rolled like a spill no one cleaned up. Mia did not look at them. She looked at the watch. She said, I don't plan to carry a crystal vase. I plan to carry boxes through wind. I plan to sign for deliveries in a language I don't yet know. I plan to stand when it's awkward. Silence grew legs. The chair cleared her throat. Thank you, Ms. Watson, we'll inform you. Outside, she sat on the steps. Her fingers learned the edges of her wallet again. Empty. The wind tasted like pennies. Reyes came out later. No smile, eyes unreadable. She sat beside Mia. That was good, Reyes said. It felt bad, Mia said. Good and bad are cousins, Reyes said. Go home, wait near your phone. Mia shook her head. Phones never ring for me. They will, Reyes said. They did. At midnight, the call came. Funding approved. Training starts in 2 weeks. Packing list short. Bring boots. Bring grit, she hung up. She laughed once, then twice, then didn't stop until her eyes burned. On the first day of training, they made them run. Dust rose like a second sun. Her foot lagged. Her chest burned. A boy behind her began to mimic the tremor with his own hand, crooked and exaggerated. 2 others joined. She kept running. At the obstacle course, she fell off a rope. She hit dirt with a sound like a dull book closing. From the sidelines, a voice called, Careful, porcelain. Laughter spilled again. She stood, dusted gravel from her palms, and climbed back up. She did not look down. At the end, one of the instructors marked a red X next to her name. Conditional, he said. What does that mean? She asked. It means finish last again and you're done, he said. Mia touched the broken watch. It was warm from sun. The second hand pointed toward a number it didn't respect. That night, someone taped a note to her locker. No room for pity projects. She crumpled it. She didn't throw it away. She kept it in the empty wallet like a receipt she intended to dispute. Morning would bring the hill, and on that hill someone would laugh so loudly at her injuries that even the wind would pause. But another voice would cut through everything, and none of them saw it coming. The hill waited like a quiet dare. They called it switchback. It made lungs forget words. Up they went. Boots in dust. Breath in small coins. Mia found a rhythm she could trust. Left leg, right lead. A soft syncopation. Halfway up, the boy who had mimicked her tremor drifted alongside. Need a handshaky? He asked and made the motion again, bigger this time. A few laughed. It sounded like rubber boots on linoleum. Ugly. Common. Mia didn't answer. She watched her breath. She watched the road underfoot. A thin snakeskin of powdered earth. Dust remembers feet. It keeps quiet record. Near the top, her calf seized. Her leg turned into a knot pretending to be a limb. She kneaded it with both hands. It sneered back. The pack thinned. People began to pass. People began to comment. You could be a mascot, one said. Or a cautionary tale, another said. A small group at the summit clapped when she reached them. Slow claps. The kind meant to bruise. She met their eyes. She didn't look away. Thanks, she said. Do it again tomorrow. I liked the beat. It drained the fun out of them. They scattered like tin cups kicked in a garage. Reyes watched from the truck. She gave a short nod. That nod felt like a coin in Mia's empty wallet. The weeks were long. Meal prep, warehouse practice, convoy drills on old airfields where weeds grew through tar like stubborn news. Mia's hand shook when she wrote manifests. So she pressed the paper to a board, braced her elbow, and kept the letters clean. She learned how to strap boxes so they held together when the road tried to destroy plans. She learned how to walk with her weight centered. even when her body wanted to list. She learned names one by one. She forgot the names of those who only laughed. Graduation came with bad coffee and folding chairs. No band, no parade. Just a certificate that said someone had seen her show up. A coordinator from a defense conference was there that day. She watched them load a mock truck in crosswind. She asked who the small woman was who kept adjusting the straps until the whole thing stopped rattling. "That's Watson," someone said. The one they heckled. The coordinator wrote something on her clipboard. She approached Mia later by the loading dock that coughed dust. "We're building a panel on resilience," the coordinator said. "We want real talk, not the shiny kind." "I'm not a speaker," Mia said. "You're a packer with a broken watch," the coordinator said. "You'll do." Mia almost said no. She thought of rooms with glass pitchers and polished laughter. She thought of her lagging foot and her traitor hand. She thought of the dusty road to the VFW and Holt's steady look. "Okay," she said. They gave her a stiped travel card. She put it in the empty wallet. It chimed against the nothing like a bell in a bare room. The conference was 2 towns over at a hotel that thought it was important. Carpet thick as a secret, air that didn't quite belong to lungs. Backstage smelled like cold electronics and old coffee. A small cluster of officers in dress uniforms stood near a curtain. Their ribbons looked like hard candy you weren't allowed to eat. Mia stood alone in the corner and practiced the first line in her head. On the other side of a thin partition, a man laughed. "All this for people who can't even hold a pen steady," he said. Someone snorted. "She's on next," another voice said. "Try not to spill your water when she shakes." They laughed again. It rolled down the hall like a cheap song you didn't want but couldn't ignore. Mia's mouth dried. Her leg began its small storm. She touched the watch. She pictured the dusty road. She thought about every name she had written clearly despite her hand. A stage manager waved. "You're up," he whispered. Mia stepped into the light and faced a room full of people who didn't know her. She set her notes down. Her hand shook. Her voice found a quiet, low gear. "My name is Mia Watson," she said, "and this is what I do when the wind doesn't care about your plans." From the dark, someone chuckled. Not with her. At her, then a door at the back opened. A new uniform entered. Stars caught the light on a shoulder. Heads turned like compass needles snapping to true. The 3-star general walked down the aisle toward the stage, and the room began to hold its breath. He didn't rush. Boot heels spoke a steady code on the carpet. No music, no escort, just gravity in human form. Mia kept talking. She listed small facts. How a strap fails if you feed it through the wrong loop. How wind can steal a box if you hand it the corner. How a pen can write clean lines inside a tremor's noise if you lock the elbow and slow the wrist. The general stopped halfway down. He stood with hands behind his back. He watched like a man who understands bridges and the weight that crosses them. Someone at a table near the front whispered, "Is that?" and didn't finish. Mia didn't look at him. She looked at the people who had laughed. She looked until a few glanced down, as if their shoes had opinions. She told the story of the storm shelter, the generator string that fought her, the baby crying and the man clapping slow, the retired sergeant with coat sleeves rolled up saying broken sometimes means proof. Her voice warmed. Time loosened. She forgot the tremor until a paper corner fluttered and reminded her it lived here too. She smiled at it. Let it be. Then she told them about Switchback Hill, about feet that lag and lungs that turn into small change, about the note on her locker and the way she folded it like a bill she would one day repay, with interest. A few people nod. Real nods. Heads that understood the math of effort. When she finished, she did not ask for applause. She stood quiet. The room felt like a cat on a fence. A long balance. One more move and it would choose a side. The general stepped forward. The moderator tried to speak. Words tangled and surrendered. He gestured to the general as if passing a hot wire. The general faced the crowd. He didn't take the microphone. He didn't need it. I heard laughter, he said. The sound slid across the room like rain on tin. A cough, a chair adjustment. Somewhere a glass clinked against a tooth. He looked at Mia's hand where the tremor drew its tiny circle in the air. I've served 34 years, he said. I have watched hands sign orders that moved thousands. I have watched hands carry one person out of a hard place. We confuse which is heavier. Silence stretched. It didn't break. He turned toward the section where the whispers had started. My father's watch broke in a flood, he said. He never fixed it. He kept it to remember the minute the water decided to argue with the house. He taught me this. If something carries a crack and keeps showing up, you don't laugh at it. Mia felt heat behind her eyes. She touched her watch. The crack looked like a small river bending toward a field. The general finally faced her. "Ms. Watson," he said. "May I see your notes?" She handed them over. The paper trembled in the handoff, hers, not his. He scanned the lines. He nodded once. Then he raised his head. 12 words, he said. For anyone who laughed, for anyone who wants to listen. He paused. Time leaned in. He opened his mouth to speak those words, and someone in the back of the hall shouted, "She's a pity invite," and tossed a folded program that sailed like a useless bird toward the stage. The paper bird hit the edge of the stage and slid under the curtain. The sound it made was small but sharp, like a nail waking in wood. The general didn't turn. He didn't ask who threw it. He let the moment sit until it began to itch. Then he spoke. "This," he said, "is what strong looks like when strength starts telling the truth." 12 words. They landed flat and heavy. Not pretty, necessary. He set Mia's notes back on the podium. He didn't straighten them. He left the top page crooked as if to say not all order is good order. He raised his chin. "For those counting hands," he said, "count the loads they carry. For those measuring gait, measure the miles." A tremor in the room now, not in a hand, in a mood. Wall seemed to lean closer. He looked toward the back. "If you laughed," he said, "you have two options. You can leave the room, or you can learn how to carry boxes in wind." Chairs squeaked. Two people stood up in a loud kind of quiet. They found the exit with faces made of policy. No one clapped. No one jeered. They just watched them go, the way you watch a truck drive past a broken fence and never slow down. The general turned to Mia. "Ms. Watson," he said, "we have a program that reorganizes supply lines when roads don't agree. We teach units how to keep promises when the map lies. I want you to help write the field guide." "Not later. Now," Mia tried to answer. Her mouth forgot how. Her watch ticked once. No, that was her pulse. It felt like a clock that had found a battery without permission. She took a breath. "I'm not," she began. "You are," he said. "Because you show up. Because you write clear. Because you make the strap hold. Because you carry a crack with dignity and don't pretend it isn't there." He turned back to the crowd. "One more thing," he said. "My staff will pass a box. It is empty. Fill it with cards and names, yours if you want to learn. Or someone you know who was told they don't belong because something shakes or limps or doesn't shine enough for a brochure. We will call them." A small, stunned laugh moved through the audience, this one soft and almost afraid of itself. People began to reach for their wallets. Some paused. Some pushed the box away, unsure. Others wrote quickly, like they were late to something that mattered. A woman near the front whispered, "Is he serious?" Her friend nodded. "I think we just got recruited." Mia stood very still. Wind outside pressed the windows, then let go. Inside, 100 private decisions were being made where no one could see. The general angled his head toward her. "Will you help?" he asked. She looked at the empty wallet in her pocket. She looked at the dusty road in her mind, the one that had carried her from the shelter to the VFW to this strange, bright room. She looked at the broken watch. For a second, she could swear she heard it tick. Maybe it was just the air in her chest turning into courage. "Yes," she said. "Good," he said. He reached into his own pocket and pulled out a folded note. He put it on the podium. "Read this after," he said, "when the noise is over." His aide tapped him on the shoulder. A murmur moved through the back rows. Something was happening at the hotel entrance. Voices raised, security moving. The general's eyes flicked to the doors. He lowered his voice. "Stay on stage," he said. "No matter what you hear." Then the lobby erupted like a glass struck wrong and the doors began to swing. A rush of people poured in. Not a panic, a surge. Conference staff. Press badges. A group with cameras who had waited outside found the opening and flowed like water. "General comments?" someone shouted. "On the procurement report?" another shouted. Words tumbled. Nothing to do with Mia. Everything to do with timing. Security formed a loose crescent. The general lifted a hand. "Later," he said. He turned to Mia again, steady like a lighthouse that refuses gossip. "Keep your feet under you." he said softly. Let waves do what waves do. He stepped away with his staff. People tried to follow. The crescent-held Mia exhaled. Her palms were damp. Her watch was warm. She remembered the note on the podium. She unfolded it with care. Handwritten. Simple ink. 12 lines. The last 4 felt like a map. Fixing what's broken isn't always repair. Sometimes it's redesign. If you want in, come where roads lose their temper. We'll make new ones. He had signed with initials and beneath them a number she guessed was a direct line. Reyes appeared at the side of the stage. She looked like someone who had been vindicated and didn't know where to put the extra air.